Like, having a child is literally a life-altering situation. Like, your life is never going to be the same.
Okay. We had a conversation where you said the relationship comes first before the kids. Do you still feel that way with kids now?
Welcome to the NOIRPOISED podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto.
It's our way of life. I want to revisit something that we discussed before marriage and before kids.
Okay.
We had a conversation where you said the relationship comes first before the kids. Do you still feel that way with kids now? And the reason why I ask is kids are obviously so sensitive nowadays. Like when you feel like an adult person will understand, a kid won't. Like we even go through that right now where if you're telling me something and our daughter is crying for attention, you'd be like, just go to her, I'll tell you later, because we care about obviously her emotional mental health. So I wanted to revisit that and hear any updated thoughts you had on that.
Yes.
So you still feel that way?
The relationship comes first. But in obviously aspects like that, like we're both adults.
Yeah.
She hasn't developed yet mentally. So she can't understand that, like, you know, I'm going to wait this moment. There's times obviously we teach her to wait.
Yeah.
But in little things, like she's a child, I have to take care of her. I have to feed her. I have to clothe her. I have to do all those things. For you, that's not the case. But on a broad scale, yes, the relationship comes first, because I understand that at some point, shorty going to leave me. She's going to leave us and start her home life. So I think it's important to make sure that our relationship is doing well before I can then tend to other things that has to do with her. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to ignore her for the sake of your relationship. No, it means we're in a space right now where we maybe need some alone time more often. That means she's going to be with a family member, more often. She may not want that, but that's putting us first. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I agree with that, but I think my
do you?
I do.
Because I remember when we were having that conversation, I don't think you thought
at that
same.
point I didn't agree, and if I remember my thoughts correctly, it was because it's kind of for the same reason where adults you're more understanding, so you could always work something out versus a child.
Yeah, I
seen this in a show. I don't know if it was like one of those shows like Survivor or whatever the case is. A mother had one life jacket. And this was a made up scenario. So a part of the game.
I know where this is going.
And she had her husband in the water and her son, her grown son, like 20 something.
I think I heard of this.
Yeah, in the water. So this is part of the show, but she had to choose one, and one of them was going to be eliminated.
Her grown son, probably in his 20s or something. Who do you think she chose?
Her husband. She chose her husband.
They can always have another one.
She did choose her husband, and her son was pissed. And her,
because they could always have another one. That's what a lot of people say.
I mean, they were old, but that's what she said. She said, like, I could always have another kid. I can't find another person to like him to marry.
Was he married?
The boy or the younger? No, he wasn't married.
Okay. The thing is, once he gets into a committed relationship and he starts his family, he'll understand why his mom did that. Yeah.
So my thought process has changed. And one of the main reasons is I've seen a lot of research that shows a healthy adult relationship is also beneficial to the child. 100%. So it's not necessarily you're choosing your relationship over the child.
It's the family.
Choosing your relationship first is actually beneficial to
the family,
right?
To the children, for both you and your spouse, and to the entire family union. Yeah, I've actually heard that too. I've read that, and that is proven to be factual, because, I mean, let's think of people who grew up in environments where they didn't see a healthy marriage.
Yeah.
It affects you. It affects the way that you view the opposite gender. It affects the way that you move in life. It affects the way that you allow yourself to be loved versus the way that you do love.
Right.
It affects you entirely based on what you saw.
Right.
So 100%.
And I think we've said this in an earlier episode before, where studies or the surveys or whatever shows that it's better to grow up in a single parent happy home than it is with two parents involved in an unhappy home.
Yeah, because I think the effects of the happy parent is what's important.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously, like we mentioned, we just had our second child. So one of the things that I wanted to do differently this time around is I wanted us to be more intentional with how we spend time with each other. Like every new parent knows, time is sacred.
Limited.
Very limited and sacred.
It's expensive. Okay.
So I wanted to hear your thoughts on, in your opinion, what are some of the difficulties that you think we had to overcome to try to keep our relationship growing together? Especially this time around.
I mean, for both of us, it might be different. I think because I think it varies based on the individual and what feeds their soul in a sense. For me, it's always been conversation. So spending quality time with you where we're actually having conversation with each other and I'm learning something new about you in the season that you're in, and vice versa, I think has always been helpful. So definitely that and open communication, because I think both parents are going through a life quake, is what they call it, right? They're going through a life quake. Having a child is literally a life altering situation. Like your life is never going to be the same.
What's left at you looking at the camera saying that?
I just be trying to give hints and signs to people.
SOS.
Not even. I love my life. But your life is just never going to be the same after children. No matter how you want to reshape it, redo it, whatever, it's not going to be the same. And you can either take that and find it as a beautiful thing, or you can sit in misery and, ponder on your old life. So I'm in a space of like finding it's beautiful. Like it's chaos. I say this all the time. I'm like, yes, it's chaotic in here. The house is never quiet anymore. And Lord knows I love my quietness. It's never quiet. There's never a moment of calmness. But it's beautiful nonetheless. And I always remember that it's not forever.
Right.
Like there's going to be a moment where they're out doing their own thing and we're going to be empty nesters one day and it's just going to be me and you again. So for me, conversation and open communication has been important because I think that's what's going to keep us connected throughout these seasons. There's going to be moments where like you may be going through something individually and I'm going through something individually. And if we move in a way where we're not communicating those things through the chaos, we can easily cross paths and just keep on going the opposite direction. And that's always been my thinking when it comes to relationships is, because I say this all the time, but like you're literally two ships passing by. Like there's so much to get done, so much to do that during the day you can't just be like, I'm gonna just go lay up on my man on the couch and watch an episode of this. Like there's hardly any of those moments when you have children, right? So by the time you can possibly do that, you're both so tired. So we tried that, right? We would try watching something on TV. This was with our first, and we would literally both knock out. We'd be like, by the time it hit 10 minutes into whatever it is, we're knocked out. So we gave up on that. We're not even TV people anyway. So I think that also made it difficult. So I've learned that when we're engaging in conversation like this, and it allows us to express like whatever happened during our day, during the week, what we experienced, what we're dealing with, what we're feeling. It then allows us to be like have grace on the other person, and then to be conscious of what they may be dealing with too. And it keeps me connected to you. So I think that's what it is for me.
I've seen a lot about how whenever parents go through a new phase, like, childbirth, what often happens is they start to drift apart. It's not even, I wouldn't even say drifting apart, show my hands like this way, but it's more so this way. Like everyone's growing and they're not
different.
They're growing differently, and there's nothing wrong with growing differently, but
there has to be something connecting.
There has to be something connected. And it's also like, if I'm growing and you're unaware of it, I have nothing to hold on to. I'm gonna transform into someone that you don't recognize, and you're just gonna think I changed. I love to say this, where I don't think people could change overnight.
No.
It's a slow process.
You just were in the loop as it was happening.
So I think that's something that's definitely I had to keep in mind, is when I'm growing and when I'm learning, make sure I share it with you. Even if I think like she don't really care about this topic, like
it doesn't matter.
Let me just share it, and I think that's one of the key things that prevents couples from drifting or growing apart. And I wanted to also ask you, do you think it's inevitable for there to be some kind of tension between parents when they go through a new phase like childbirth? Like it's always going to happen, even if it's not every child. But
I wouldn't use the term inevitable. I don't think it's inevitable, because I think you could always try your best to prepare. And if you're already someone who has an open line of communication within your relationship, and you both are aware that this is what we're gonna do, then you're not gonna have like the tension.
Right.
But I think there are going to be like annoyances and irritants. Like there's going to be moments where like you're a little irritated by one another, and then it's not to add in the hormonal aspects that that plays. Like women go through really crazy hormonal shifts and it can happen within like 24 hours. Like from the time you have the baby, within the next, I think 24, 48 hours, the hormone levels are so drastically different. Like just imagine what that can do to someone, you know, and hormones affect your mood, they affect your mind. So naturally you think the person is like acting different or changing, but you don't stop to think like, well, they're fluctuating in hormones to they're sleep deprived. That's enough to make someone cranky, right? When we're sleep deprived, we get really cranky. We're sleep deprived. Your diet is, you're probably not eating. So you're probably hangry at the same time. And then you're irritated because you're having a baby cry constantly. You're breastfeeding, which is draining your calories. So there's just a lot that could potentially happen that will cause irritants and annoyances there. I don't want to call it tension because I don't think it's tension if you're conversing about it throughout the process. I think it's more so, you got on my nerves.
Right.
I got on your nerves. Let's talk about it. That's basically what I think it is. I think that's always going to happen. You can't avoid that.
Right. I see that. And in your opinion, how do you smooth things over during that process? Because I think what happens a lot is there's a period of tension and people don't know how to talk about it, or maybe choose not to talk about it and kind of ignore it. And the tension may settle down a little bit, but it's still remembered. It's still unhealed or untreated, I should say. So let's pretend like we're talking to ourselves from the past. We're trying to tell them, how do you prepare for something like that?
Dang.
While you think about it, one thing that I think that's helped me compared to the first time around is I've taught myself to think of the little things more, because the little things build up into bigger things. So like, just a random example. If I notice that, you know, the dishes are not done at night, and that's something that, let's say, you would do during the afternoon. If I'm tired in the past, I'll be like, I will do it in the morning versus let me handle it right now. And there was one thing, I don't remember what it was, but something that needed to be done, and I got up right there and I did it. And then you said, I love when you take care of things in the moment. And I never forgot that, because I'm like, okay, that's something I can note. So now if I see something that needs to be taken care of, my natural habit is to procrastinate and say like, I'll do it later because I'm preoccupied, but let me do it now. And I think once things like that happen, you kind of release more pressure. So that like the tension is not building up. And that's something I don't think I did the first time around. I think the first time around I was more so, I know I'm going to do it, so let me just do it now. Or if I wanted to wash a tub or something, right? I would say, okay, I'm gonna wash the tub tonight. So I'm going to leave the Ajax by the tub. So you see that.
That's smart, because I would come in the bathroom and see the Ajax and be like, why would he leave the Ajax here?
And that's what I had to learn. Like, that's what I had to learn. Like, instead of saying, I'm going to do something later, let me just do it now. And it's just about the little things. So I would tell myself, like, don't think you have to, you know, rent a limo, you know, for date night on a Friday night, get a babysitter and do all this extra stuff. I would tell myself, you'd be surprised how the little every day or even once a week or whatever the case is, like, it helps. You know, it helps to relieve that pressure. That's what I would tell myself.
I love that you said the last part, because I think that's the mistake that a lot of people have. They think like when they say keep dating your spouse, that it has to be these
grand gestures.
Grand gestures. Nonetheless, those are nice. Or like going out to dinner or whatever. And I think I told you this actually, where we weren't talking about ourselves, but we were just talking about like on a general aspect. We were having a conversation about like, you know, like keeping the flame, I guess, in relationships and stuff. And one of the things, that was one of the things I told you, because I think sometimes people think they have to do so much when it just takes like, you poured the drink that I wanted to drink and you put on the projector and we were like, we're just going to chill and watch an episode of the show. Like you did that, right? You did that, and it was 30 minutes, but it was just like, you've thought through this, you've planned something out, and it was intentional. So the intentions is what makes it meaningful, you know, versus you book a reservation and we go out to eat. Those are good too, but the reality is sometimes you don't have the time to do that. Some people don't have the funds, I guess, you know? So it's finding small ways to do something for the other person, I guess you could say. And it doesn't even have to be like that date night. So it could be something as simple as like, I know you like to wear this specific robe at night, and let me just put it on the bed for you so it's there when you need it. Like, it's just little things every day. I think that matters. So I love that you said that.
The little things do build up. Since we're on the topic, and I can only speak from a man's perspective, something that I was just meditating on actually earlier today is men can work with what they can envision. So I think if men have the ability, if we can envision it, we can somehow make it work. I think women could only work with what they're given. And when they're given something, they can multiply it in a way where a man can't. And I say all that to say, I took that and I applied it to relationships. And I put the challenge on myself, and I'm putting the challenge on men as well, where if you see that your relationship is a certain way, then maybe there's a certain value that you're not providing. And I had to take that to heart, especially in preparation for our second child being born. Reflecting, I said to myself, what is it that I'm not giving, or what is it that I could give, more of if I wanted to see my relationship flourish, versus looking at it and be like, no, this is 50-50. What could we do together? And I wanted to know, what are your thoughts on that aspect?
The statement about men can do what they envision and women do what they're given.
Yeah, or what they have around them, not necessarily given. I don't want the feminists coming after me now.
Facts.
But
I don't think that's true all the time, but I do think there's a lot of truth to that. I do think there's a lot of truth to that. It depends on if the person's a visionary or not. Yeah. That's what it boils down to, right? But I do think it's important that the man takes the initiative when it comes to that. So I've heard people say this in different ways, but basically, like, what you get from a woman is based on what you give her, right? And I do think that I think that's true. So a lot of times during the postpartum period, obviously, there's certain things that you cannot do, right? There's certain activities you can't engage in. So naturally, some men are like, well, what's going on? You used to do that before we had kids. Now after kids, it's like it's non-existent. Or you used to cook this amount of times the week. Now after the kid, you only cooking about this amount. Like, at the end of the day, if you provide her with a certain type of atmosphere, I think she'll get it done. And that's what I mean. And it's not across the board, because there are different type of people. But I do think that if men want their relationship to flourish, like you said, it's best if they do take initiative on the date nights. It doesn't have to be dates like going out, but making her feel like she's still cared for, if that makes sense. And I think she'll always do the things that you would like her to do to feel cared for, Yeah, so I agree.
Another mindset I think people need to get rid of is the idea that one person is doing more than the other and the other person's not doing enough. And
it's funny, that ties into what I was going to say a little bit. But
that's not to say that may not be the case.
Yeah.
But I think that's a natural killer of relationships, especially during this phase of life. Because there was a book I read, The Psychology of Money.
Yeah.
And in it, they said you have to view people through the lens of they're always doing the best they can with the information they have.
Yeah.
Like, people are not really going out there and making stupid decisions just for the sake. But for the sake of making stupid decisions, like, they're not going out there and saying, "I'm gonna do something dumb."
It was a joke.
Yeah, but they have some information and they think that they're doing the best. And I know, like, dads experience that a lot, where you could think you're doing the best, and then one comment really shifts, like, "Oh, I thought I was actually doing good," and that creates more tension, that creates resentment, and vice versa. Like, some men may say, like, not even men, I heard women say this too, where you're just at home with the baby, so I'm the one that's out there working or doing X, Y, and Z, and that naturally creates some resentment and tension. I think that's the number one thing that people should try to get rid of. That mindset.
Yeah, I agree, because I was gonna say actually communicating the workload. That's one thing I'm learning to try to do now, because oftentimes when people have that mentality, it's because the workload is not communicated. If you're not telling your spouse what you need from them, what you need them to do, not every person is going to just know. That's what I have to remember. Everyone's not just going to know. And especially in the sense of, like, a father, their intuition is not kicking in the same way. You just had a baby, so you're mama bear. You're going to naturally be protective and know what to do for your child. Your intuition is going to kick in. It may not do the same for him. So you need, as the mom, I think it's important for us to guide you guys into where we need the help and what we think you can do. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes there are people who think, like, well, she's the mom, so she's going to change all the diapers. She's going to do the bathing. She's going to do this, that, and the third. And that's cool. There are relationships where that happens. I think I'm fine with that, honestly, like doing the bathing, because I just don't want to have to blame nobody for nothing. But I'm cool with doing that. But there are other aspects of doing things that can be, passed on to your significant other. And if you want that done, communicating it and not assuming that they're just going to know that they should do it. So it's little things like, I don't know, restocking the diapers and the wipes and all those things that we use on a regular basis, right? Like maybe some moms don't stop to think like, maybe I should tell him I would like him to do that. So that way, at least that's one thing I don't have to worry about. But a lot of moms actually won't say it, but will be irritated at the fact that it's not done because they're in their mind, they're just like, you know, we use the diapers, you know, we use the wipes. Why don't you just restock it? You know, we're going through them or, you know, we got to order baby. So we use the same Amazon account, go on Amazon and see when was the last time. Do we need more? Go through the house. Like little things like that. Some moms won't express that and then assume that the guy should just know, just like she knows. And then when he doesn't do it, those are like the little irritants that you don't communicate. And then it builds up and then you realize like, you're starting to feel a type of way. And I think that's when the resentment starts. And I think that's when also assuming that like your workload is more than their workload. I think communicating the workload is important. So we know like, okay, can you do this? I need you to do this. And that can kind of help through the process, you know?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Communicating the workload is definitely something that I think should be highlighted. Men, we have the mindset, it's going to sound crazy, but I'm just going to say it. If you're doing it, then why do I need to do it? And it goes back to if we're a team, the way teams work is you handle this part, I handle this part, and we come together and it works. But I've learned that in relationships, that's not always, it's more of a, I don't want to use the word juggle, but that's the first thing that comes to mind where sometimes I got to be able to play your position as well. And you can play my position. It goes back and forth and you have to have discernment or insight to know when do I need to step in. And I think
that's why communicating it is important.
When do I need to step in?
Not everyone's going to know when to step in.
Right.
And like, you can't be mad at someone for not knowing when to step in.
Right. I'm offense or I play the right field. You know, I'm not supposed to be on the left. I'm not supposed to be the center. And you have to have the ability to decipher what come in and when to come in and when to come out. And I think a lot of guys need that help from their spouses to know like, hey, you know, I ain't got it together. Because men really do believe like, I kid you not, when you're a mother, you have that motherly instinct.
But you do.
Yeah, but it all just comes rushing with you, and everything you do, you're supposed to do, you enjoy doing.
The enjoy is hilarious. You do have motherly instincts.
Yeah.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is we don't think that we need to step in.
That's crazy.
We don't think we need to step in as much as I think wives or mothers expect us to step in. Unfortunately, we think sometimes our presence gets in the way, actually.
That's so funny. Like, I guess it depends on the woman and the dynamic, right? But that makes me think I actually saw a snippet on YouTube of I think it was Nelly and Ashanti. You know, they're together. Yeah. Okay, so they have a baby or something. I don't know if they have one or two, but they have a baby, point is. And there was a snippet where he goes, that's all you do everything, okay? I can't do nothing until he start walking. When he start walking, he's gonna be with the homies, but right now it's all you handle that. And I was watching it, I was just like, man, that's crazy. They're older too. Well, he's older, I think he's in his 50s. I don't know, but that just shows the difference mentally of the generations before us, because that's how it was. But in reality, no, you can do something. Yeah, but you know what's crazy? You can make a bottle.
It's not that big of a difference in mindset, because I had that mindset with our first, actually.
I
like going in, I'm like,
that was obvious. Yeah,
when they're fragile and they can't lift their head up, nothing. I'm scared I'm gonna break something. Like, when they start walking and talking, I'll throw them over my shoulder. You know, I could do. I'm ready for that, but I didn't know that I was required or needed or wanted actually to step in.
And I think it's also because like you were probably thinking, I need you to change a diaper. I need you to bathe her. When reality is no, I actually prefer to do those things, and we know that. But it's more so, I wake up at 2 a.m. to breastfeed. I forgot to reload my snack. Breastfeeding makes you hungry. Okay? Hungry. So it's nice to know like, oh, you put like a water bottle near the bed, or you got a few snacks. So in the middle of the night, if I'm starving, there's like a granola bar there. Yeah. Like those are the ways that a man can step in that doesn't have to like step on her toes on what he thinks she's doing. You get what I'm saying? But again, you don't know that unless it's communicated. Right. She gets hungry. Let me give y'all the tea. Get her snacks. She doesn't want to have to worry about food for herself, honestly, because she's worrying about food for everybody else, okay? Half the time, she's probably making everybody else's food, and then by the time she realizes it's time to make her food, she didn't have time to. So guess what? She's starving. She's hangry, okay? So get her some snacks. Make sure she always has water available because she needs to be hydrated as she's breastfeeding. If the diapers are low, restock them. You know where the pack is? Go put them where she likes to have them. If the wipes are low, do the same. If you notice the laundry needs to be done, ask her. Because that was the thing. I was just like, God, he used the wrong soap. But I don't know what it was, but it was something that happened. I was like, no, I don't wash that with that. Ask her, do you need me to help you with that? Do you want me to put those clothes away? Like, it doesn't hurt to ask. But again, like you said, I think men think that she don't want them there. But you can help in other ways that doesn't involve the actual baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And communication. I really think communicating the workload is important. Now I'm learning to tell you, like, can you get the pack of diaper? Can you get, like, now I think your job has become getting water.
I'm very good at that, you know. But
I
was gonna say it doesn't have to always be this is what I need you to do, but I think communication sometimes is just vocalizing, like, when you like how something is done. Like if he remembered to go get diapers, or if he's watching you look for diapers, like, oh, you need me to go get some. I like that you saw that I needed that. Like little things like that is what guys I think look for, to say, oh, I didn't know this is going to be a good thing. Like, you know, now I know to do
showing appreciation.
Right. No, now not even that. Just, it doesn't always have to be this is what you need to do, but show me that it's needed without always having to tell me this is what you do.
How do we do that? How do we do that? How do I show you that it?
Oh, like some like the example we just had with the diapers. Like if I notice that you're changing our child's diaper and I see you looking underneath, I'm gonna be like, oh, you want me to go get it?
See, that's the thing. Some people won't notice that.
Yeah, some people won't notice. I'm not saying it's always gonna be.
I was gonna say, because I feel like that's why it's important to just be like, can you get me the diapers?
Yeah, or sometimes just conversation. Like there's days where like he'll be like, this is how my afternoon went. You know, I had to do this, I had to do that. You know, people are listening and be like, oh, I didn't know this would have been an issue for you. Like, let's say you, again, with the water, you forgot to pack water. Now I'm like, all right, I should make the water more accessible. Or maybe I could remind you to get water, or something to that extent. Or even earlier today when you were making stuff in the kitchen and then you had to come do something else. I wasn't able to get close to you, but I had our daughter go and tell you, do you need to remember something on the stove? Because I've heard you say a couple of times before, like, oh man, I let this, overcook or something. So little things like that. But that requires guys, paying attention too. But
it takes effort on both ends.
Effort on both parts. But I guess what I'm saying is communication doesn't always have to be direct. It could also be indirect as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. And patience.
Yeah.
Patience with one another.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. And we're out. Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you gained some knowledge today that'll promote poise in your life. We have new episodes uploaded every Thursday right here, same place, same time. Until next time, you can follow us on Instagram at NOIRPOISED Podcast to stay connected. That's NOIRPOISED Podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And remember, your wisdom is power.